Dear students, welcome back to Smart Biology Tricks. So in this video, we are going to discuss about chloroplast and their structure and functions in detailed way we are going to discuss. So what is meant by chloroplast? Chloroplast is an important cellular organelle which you can find only in the plant system. Okay, only in the plant cells this chloroplast is present. So the diagram which you can see in the screen that describes the clear-cut structure of a chloroplast. So chloroplast is a double membrane bound organelle where you can see outer membrane and also inner membrane you can find. This is what the chloroplast is called as endomembrane organelle. So in a plant cell, other cellular organelles also considered as a endomembrane organelle, which are all nucleus and also endoplasmic reticulum and mitochondria. So chloroplast is one among the endomembrane organelle. So other than the membrane system of the chloroplast, if you see, chloroplast is also containing stroma. The empty place inside the chloroplast, we consider that as a stroma, and it is also containing thylakoid. Thylakoids are nothing, it is a group of grana that is bound together. It's like a stack like structure, so it is called as a granum. And then stroma lamella, it is a connecting point between the granum, that is called as stroma lamellae, and the space inside the granum, that is called as lumen. So these are the different parts of the chloroplast. So each part is very much important and plays a major role in the process of photosynthesis. And coming back to the introduction about the chloroplast, it is a double membrane organelle which is found only in the plant system and also algae. Algae in the sense unicellular and multicellular algae system, it contains chloroplast. So the major important functions of the chloroplast is photosynthesis. What is meant by photosynthesis? Converting the light energy and chemical energy into converting the light energy into chemical energy is called as photosynthesis. So during this process, ATP and NADPH will be produced in the form of energy. So this chloroplast organelle, it was discovered by Sachs in the year of 1864, and the structural description was given by a scientist called Schimper in the year of 1883. So this chloroplast is containing chlorophyll pigment. So there are two different types of chlorophyll will be there, chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B, along with different pigments, that is carotenoids and xanthophylls also will be present in the plant system. But chlorophyll, because of the presence of chlorophyll, chloroplast are in green in color and it can be able to involve in photosynthesis process. Okay, right. So this chloroplast belongs to one category of plastids, that chloroplast. Other types of plastids are also found in plant system. Those are leucoplast and chromoplast. So chromoplast, you can see it in the all the bright colorful part of the plant system. Say for example, fruits and then flowers, petals. If you see, it will be different color: yellow color, brown color, red color, pink color. All the colored cells in the plant system are containing chromoplast. In case of leucoplast, if you see, which contains high amount of fatty acid, which can be found in the seed coat. And also the chromoplast, the green part of the plants, leaves, stem of the plant system will be appear in green color. So this green part of the cells will contain chloroplast. So this is what endosymbiotic theory, which means, what is meant by endosymbiotic theory? Accidentally, the unicellular photosynthetic organisms was engulfed by the eukaryotic cells. So during the evolution time, the photosynthetic cyanobacteria was engulfed by unicellular algae, and then during the course of evolution, this engulfed particles becomes a part of the eukaryotic cells, and then it started transferred from one generation into other generations, and then it become the native part of the eukaryotic system. Okay, so there are some evidence to prove that endosymbiotic theory, which means like usually bacterial system will have 70s ribosomes. So similarly, in any plant system, if you see the chloroplast, inside the chloroplast, it will be having ribosomes. So those ribosomes will be similar to the prokaryotic bacterial ribosomes, which means 70s ribosomes. So because of this type of 70s ribosomes that is present inside the chloroplast, it is being considered as, because of endosymbiotic theory, chloroplast has been engulfed inside the eukaryotic cell system. So this concept was earlier discovered and then proposed by a scientist called Schimper in the year 1883. So he proposed that chloroplast are cyanobacteria that is living inside the plant system. And if you see the morphology of the chloroplast, in different organisms, the chloroplast morphology will be appeared in different shape. So for example, it might be in disc shape, or it might be in lens shaped, or it might be also in the form of oval shape. So the size and shape of the chloroplast will be vary from one organism to another organism. You can see here the chloroplast that is found in the Glaucophyta will be appeared as oval shape. Say for example, in Chlorophyta, these are all different classifications of algae. In the particular algae called as Chlorophyta, chloroplast, if you see, it will be in the form of a lens shape. So in different organism species or different system, it might be appear in different morphology. And coming to the size, if you see, approximately the chloroplast size will be around 4 to 10 micron meter, and the diameter will be 1 to 3 micrometer thickness it might be having. And if you see the numbers, how many numbers of chloroplast one particular cell might be having, so it ranges from 20 to 100 different types of chloroplast per mesophyll cells. So mesophyll cells, mostly the young cells will be considered as a mesophyll cells, and it will contains more number of chloroplasts because it was actively participating in the photosynthesis process. And this is about the structure of the chloroplast. The chloroplast will have outer membrane and then inner membrane, and between the membrane system, if you see, inner membrane, intermembrane space will be there. So outer membrane will be very smooth, and it is permeable to all the small molecules and contains porins. So this is an example for the active transport, and also it is an example for gap junctions where all the different types of charged particles, high molecular weight molecules, water molecules, different polarity molecules can easily diffuse or cross the outer biological membrane, whereas the inner membrane, if you see, it is less permeable and also regulates the metabolite exchange via transport proteins. So there are more transport proteins will be there in the inner side of the chloroplast membrane, so that it cannot blindly permit all the possible molecules inside the chloroplast. So any molecules that can cross the primary membrane, which means the outer membrane, can be crossed by any type of molecule, irrespective of charge, polarity and size. But the inner membrane is highly regulated, which is less permeable. Only the selective molecule can be diffused inside the inner membrane. And also intermembrane space is there. This space size, if you see, it will be approximately 10 to 20 nanometer wide, and it separates the outer and inner membranes of the chloroplast. So this is about the structure of the chloroplast with regards to the chloroplast envelope. So next one is a stroma. Stroma is also called as a matrix. It is a gel-like fluid which is present inside the chloroplast. It contains different enzymes which are responsible for different biochemical reactions, especially Calvin cycle. It is also denoted as dark reactions. It is containing circular DNA. As I said earlier, it is similar to prokaryotic organisms. Prokaryotic organisms means what? Bacteria. So similar to bacterial system, this chloroplast contains circular DNA, whereas the nuclear DNA, if you see, it might be linear in shape. and also it contains 70s ribosomes. So that is also similar to prokaryotes. So all the bacterial system will be having 70s ribosomes. So similar to that, chloroplast is also containing 70s ribosomes. Because of this, scientists have concluded that chloroplast is a non-native organelle to the eukaryotic plant system. It might be come from the engulfed by cyanobacteria organisms, and also it contains some starch grains because the chloroplast is actively involved in photosynthesis process, so that it will be producing more amount of glucose. So those glucose molecules will be converted into starch kind of a molecule, and it might be later translocated into the tuber system. So this starch is a product of photosynthesis that is also present in the stroma. In addition to this, it is also containing lipid droplets, because lipids also will be produced by the chloroplast system, and it will be stored in the stroma of the chloroplast. And stroma, it is also act as the site of carbon fixation. Carbon fixation was mainly targeted and carried out by stroma of the chloroplast part, and it is also responsible for synthesis of sugars. What is meant by sugars? Carbohydrates, and fatty acid is also produced in the stroma. In addition to this, amino acids also produced in the stroma. Simply, in a cell, you can consider the empty space or fluid like substances as a cytoplasm. Similarly, inside the chloroplast, the fluid like substances will be considered as stroma or matrix. And next one is the thylakoid system. It is a membranous sacs arranged in the form of a stack-like structure. So if you can see in the picture, the coins like structures are arranged in the form of a stack-like structure, which is considered as a thylakoid system. So this thylakoid system is embedded with different types of photosynthetic pigments and also electron carriers, and then an important enzyme, that is ATP synthetase. So this ATP synthetase produces ATP. So due to the electron transport chain process, ATP will be produced by utilizing ATP synthetase enzyme. So what is meant by Grana? Grana is a single part of the thylakoid system. It is a single kind of a part of the thylakoid system. So each grana will contain 10 to 50 thylakoids, and also stroma lamellae, which connects the different granum all together, and it is also containing thylakoid lumen. The thylakoid lumens are very much involved in proton gradient. Proton gradient means what? It is a hydrogen ion molecule will be transferred across the membrane, so that is called a proton gradient, that is developed during the light reactions of the chloroplast functions. And coming to the structure of the chloroplast with regards to pigments in the thylakoid membrane, so there are different types of pigments are there in the chloroplast, which are all chlorophyll A, chlorophyll B, and carotenoids. So chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B, which absorbs the sunlight at different wavelength, and it is involving in the photosynthesis process. So similarly, the carotenoids, if you see carotenes, xanthophylls, that are involved in different functions of the chloroplast. And this is about the chloroplast stroma, whereas it is containing photosystem 1 and photosystem 2, where different types of chlorophyll will be present, and each photosystem, if you see 680 it is mentioned here, and also here 700 is mentioned here, which means the chlorophylls present in the photosystem 1 and 2 will absorb the light at different wavelength, and because of this, hydrolysis is happening. Water molecule present inside the chloroplast will be involving in the process of hydrolysis, so that hydrogen and oxygen will be splitted. Because of this, more hydrogen will be generated. This hydrogen will be cross the biological membrane. Because of this proton gradient transferred mechanism, ADP will be converted into ATP. What is ADP? Adenosine diphosphate, that will be converted into adenosine triphosphate. That is happened because of the proton gradient. Proton means what? It is hydrogen molecule that is comes from the actions of hydrolysis of water, so that more amount of protons are produced inside the lumen system. So these protons are exchanged between the biological membrane. During the time, ADP will be converted into ATP. So the major functions of chloroplast, if you see, it is involving in light reactions and dark reactions. In both the process, energy will be produced. So what is meant by light reactions? The chloroplast or the chlorophyll present in the chloroplast in the thylakoid membrane will absorb the light, and then it is involving in the ATP productions. So what is meant by dark reactions? Whatever the energy produced, NADPH, that is produced because of the photosynthesis process, that will be used in, even though in the absence of the light. So the energy will be consumed for the productions of glucose, starch and sucrose. Other functions of chloroplast are also listed here. The first one is, major one is photosynthesis and carbon fixation. In the plant system, carbons will be fixed by using chloroplast, and also starch synthesis, fatty acid synthesis, amino acid synthesis, nitrogen and sulfur metabolism, and oxygen productions also contributed by the plant system because of the presence of chloroplast in its structure. And other functions, it is acted as a storage vesicles, so temporary storage of starch grains that are stored in the structures of the chloroplast. And it is also involved in the biosynthesis of fatty acid, amino acid, nucleic acids, everything also contributed by chloroplast. And the major thing is pigments, chlorophyll, carotenoids, all are produced in the chloroplast. And when it comes to genetic functions, chloroplast, it is having its own DNA. As I said earlier, it is a circular DNA, and it is also having ribosomes, which is specifically 70S ribosomes. So because of this, it is also considered as semi-autonomous organelle. 90% the chloroplast can take care of itself by the genetic material and proteins that are produced inside the chloroplast, but remaining 10% it is dependent on nucleus. Some of the proteins are imported from the nucleus so that the chloroplast can be actively involved, and also it encodes some proteins for the photosystem, and it is containing ribosomal RNAs because it is actively involving in transcription and translation. It is also containing tRNAs, and most chloroplast proteins are nuclear encoded and imported. As I said, the 10% of chloroplast proteins that comes from the nucleus. So it is semi-autonomous organelle. It is not a complete autonomous organelle like nucleus. It is a semi-autonomous organelle, and it is also involved in stress protections specific to plant system. Whenever plants are having oxidative stress, it is being maintained or regulated by chloroplast. And also we have discussed earlier, that is endosymbiosis theory regarding the cyanobacteria was accidentally engulfed by the plant system. So that is a theory that is says endosymbiotic theory. Because of that, chloroplast, the present day chloroplast present in the plant system, are most similar to the bacterial structure and its conditions. Okay, so also it is in dividing by binary fission similar to the bacterial system. So apart from the structure of the chromosomes and the ribosomes, it is involving in the chloroplast division also similar to the bacterial binary divisions. All these evidences are considering and confirming the cyanobacteria was accidentally entered into unicellular plant cells, and then it becomes the part of the plant eukaryotic system. And the special features about the chloroplast, it has DNA RNA ribosomes, and it is involving in the binary fission,